everybody, this is the Wikstrand. The movie of today is of course The Full Monty. The Full Monty is British slang that roughly can be translated to full frontal nudity, which is, what this movie is essentially about, whether or not they will, go full Monty in the end or not. They actually had so much British slang in this movie that they actually had to have a, glossary in some American theaters, explaining what certain terms meant in American context. I think that was kind of cute. This movie was an enormous success, not just at the box office, making back its very, very slim budget, enormous amounts of time, but it also was a universally praised movie, winning multiple awards, including an Academy Award for Best Song and actually being nominated for Best Picture. That is not a small feat being done by a small little independent British movie. However, is the movie as good as the critics are saying that they are? Because we shouldn't forget that it just wasn't a successful movie. It was also a Broadway musical and a stage show and stuff like that, and its soundtracks so like crazy. My opinion of it, I saw this movie a couple of years after its release, so the mega hype that was surrounding it had pretty much died down at this point. My opinion of it is of course that I think it is a really good movie. A really, really good movie. Just not quite as good as the critics were making it out to be. Why? Let's take a look at it, shall we? This is The Full Monty. So the steel mill in Sheffield, Northern England has closed down and many of their employees are now unemployed. One of them, our gas, he's played by Robert Carlyle, and he is really after his payments on child support, and he's struggling to keep his nose over water, being resorted to actually stealing scrap metal and selling it in nefarious ways to not go hungry. Things are looking pretty grim for good old Gas here, but one night he gets an idea. He sees a lot of women that are queuing for going to the Chippendales show that are coming to this little steel town, and he gets an idea. What if he can put on a striptease show and so they can draw women to actually see not these chiseled good-looking men, but to see actual local men performing this thing. So him and a bunch of other people, including Tom Wilkinson and Mark Addy, are now trying to become male strippers, but they don't have any experiences in choreography or dancing, and they may not have the looks or the chiseled physiques, more like being slightly middle-aged men with dad buds. Are they going to be able to pull it off? Are anybody going to come, or are they going to do the full Monty in the end and show off everything that the Chippendales may or may not have actually done when they came to town? So one thing that has been said over and over and over again about this movie is how charming it is, and this movie is a lot of charm. This movie has so much of it, because it is hard not to get wrapped up in this story, because you're really rooting for these guys. You really appreciate what they're trying to do. This is kind of a fish out of water story for them. Not just the fact that they're trying to learn something that they are not very good at, but it is also that they're trying to overcome stage fright and stuff like that. The thing is that this movie is a drama comedy, and I would say that the word drama is a little bit too much overshadowing the comedy, because it is a little bit too much kitchen sink realism, and there is maybe a little bit too much of the doom and gloom that populates this movie. The absurdities and the ideas of people that are not very good at choreography, trying to learn choreography. You can do a lot of comedy about it. It practically writes itself. They just chose not to do that, and I just wish this movie could have been a little funnier. I mean, there is a lot of very good actors in this one. Robert Carlyle is very good, Tom Wilkinson is very good, Mark Addy is very good, and the characters they're playing and their friends and the supporters are really likable, and this movie is also, as I said in the intro, has a lot of authenticity to it, and I love that. Granted, there is a couple of really funny sequences in this one. The flash dance thing I thought was very, very funny, and I thought that this movie has a good pacing, the movie has a great soundtrack, the movie has, all in all, a very, very nice and pleasant atmosphere over itself when it doesn't dive too much into the doom, gloom and unemployment and, you know, kitchen sink realism thing. The thing is that this movie was made, you know, in the late 90s, where Britain seemed to be populated by only two kinds of people. One, it was of charming, working class people, and not too bright, low-level gangsters. There was just tons of movies about these ones being made each and every week, it seems like, and everybody just got so much praise from the critics. I got a little sick of it at one point. My favorite of the bunch is, of course, the Guy Ritchie movies, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch. Because this movie has a runtime of only 91 minutes, they don't have time to, you know, go too far in the, you know, unnecessary side plots or anything like that, so we'll have to give it that. Do I recommend this movie? Yes. Yes, I do. I think this movie has a lot of upside to it. I do think that it could have been a little funnier without losing its soul, but maybe it's just me being cranky about it, but it is a really good movie. 91 minutes of tight British charm. I give this movie 73 points. I think this is a really, really good movie, and I think this movie has an excellent third act and a fantastic finale, which lifts up the rest of the movie, because there are points in this movie where you think that this movie kind of treads waters a little bit, but they make up for it in a good way with that excellent finale. So I'll see you next time for Well So and So Reviewing Well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.